All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Property Committee meeting to order for July 2nd, 2020. Appreciate everyone taking the time to be here. Special welcome to anyone who's watching us stream the meeting online. First order of business on the agenda, and I should note before I say this, just to reconfirm, Member Smith is in attendance here within the room this evening with proper social distancing. First order of business on the agenda after roll call is Chairman's approval of minutes. We have minutes for April 21st, 2020 and May 7th of 2020, and would entertain a motion from a committee member to approve those minutes. Motion by Member Friedrich, second. Member Johnston, any questions, discussion, or corrections about the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of April 21st, 2020 and May 7th of 2020, please raise your hand or say aye. 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 Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Departmental matters, item 4 on the agenda. Mr. Doherty, you are first up to bat for us today. Good to see you.
Josh.
Mm-hmm.
You scroll up. There, June.
Oh,
I apologize, everyone. Just a moment. It took me off when you said the dates. Sorry. Thank you.
we probably better do that again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. My apologies to the committee. I accidentally have the June agenda up in front of me, which, other than the date at the very top, looks remarkably like the one that we're using for July. So my apologies for that. Well, we already approved the 2 minutes that we just talked about, I believe, at last month's meeting, but thank you for approving those a second time. It's always good to have a nice humbling moment, especially when you're streaming on the internet for millions of people to see. Well, going back to approval of minutes, item number 2 on the agenda, we actually need a motion to approve the minutes for June 4th, 2020. Thank you. A motion from Member Smith, a second from Member Friedrich. Any questions or discussions about the June 4th minutes? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes for June 4, 2020, please signify by raising your hand or saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Okay, minutes for June 4th, 2020 are approved. Thank you. And on our agenda this evening, it actually is Mr. Steffa who is first up to present this evening underneath item 4, departmental matters. Mr. Steffa, Parks and Rec Department, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. I just wanted to give you a quick update on a few things, especially the sewage treatment plant. I'm learning more about sewage treatment plants than I ever dreamed of, but as we stand now, we're waiting for, we had to take a sludge report or sludge sample. That's basic. Well, I don't think I have to go into too much detail about that, but that was done yesterday and the sample was sent to Peoria. So we're waiting for the sample to come back with what basically the company that we're dealing with, Stewart Spreading and GA Rich, they're looking for if we land application this sludge later on in the year when we dredge it, they need to know the content, especially like the heavy metals that are in the sludge. If there's certain metals in the sludge present, then we cannot land applicate that. We'll have to take it, we'll have to go another route, but they seem to be pretty confident that we won't have any problems with that, but it's got to be done anyway. It's a requirement from the EPA and for part of the application process. So we are waiting for that. Once we get that, we will apply for Stewart Spreading will apply for the permit. And right now they're saying it's going to take about 90 days minimum to hear back for a permit. It shouldn't be a problem getting the permit, but it's just time consuming. We do have a, I guess a splint or a, we've stopped the wound. So we are operating. We're not operating at 100%, but we're operating enough where we can leave things open, leave the facilities open, and everything's been just fine lately. So that's where we stand on the sewage treatment plant. I would be more than happy to answer any questions if anybody's got any.
Member Johnston.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Steffa, can you give us an update, like as far as camping capacity, boat rentals, what's going on out there? So just get a sense of how it's being used, the park is.
Absolutely. Campground has, well, everything's been extremely busy. Obviously, we kind of figured it would be busy after phase 4 was put into place. We did get to open our picnic shelters and yeah, the picnic shelters and the group camps. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a moment, but those are starting to pick up now. The boat rental has been absolutely crazy, especially at during the weekdays, which again, I think that's driven a little bit from our swimming beach not being open, but I can report that our pontoon that we started to rent has done quite well. It's even passing my expectations. It's not only getting used on the weekends, it's getting used on the weekdays. I figured it wouldn't get used so much on the weekdays. Well, it's been getting used on the weekdays. So I can give you some financial figures for the August meeting if you'd like. I'd be more than happy to put together a report on what's being used in our for the boat rentals. I can give you a report on site nights being used in the campground, but I can tell you every weekend that we have opened, since we've opened in the campground, we have not had any sites available for the weekends. That's both electric and non-electric. So it's been at capacity. Well, I think this would be the, if I'm figuring right, I think it's the 4th weekend. Obviously being the 4th of July weekend, it's always busy on the holiday weekends, but we've been at 100% capacity on the weekends and fairly busy on the weekdays as well.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Steffa. If you're able to come in August with some of that information, I think that'd be great.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Appreciate all of your work just in general during this season, but especially with the continued issues with the lagoon. Appreciate all you and your staff are doing to move that project forward.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, next on the agenda, item 4B. Now we're at facilities management.
Thank you, Chairman. Everybody hear me?
Great.
Okay, thank you. Just to save time and not be repetitive in nature, it's been a busy month. We've had the following things completed in each and every facility, and that would be fire extinguisher inspections, elevator inspections, and our third-party sprinkler inspections. I'll go through each building, starting with the government center. Fourth asterisk down, we're coordinating repairs with a small leak in the HVAC hydronic system with the contractor. And I can report that the contractor was in this week and found out it's not quite as small. The leaks are small, but the leaks go all the way from the 4th floor down to the mezzanine. There is a return pipe that is severely pitted at fittings and what have you. So the plan is right now to replace this pipe with new, it's copper tubing, new pipe, new fittings all the way down to the mezzanine from the 4th floor down. And of course, the installation will have to be repaired. So we're underway with that one. Also, in the government center, we're replacing pump motor couplings on heating and cooling water pumps. We're using a flex type coupling that's a little bit more forgiving. You don't have to spend the labor on expensive alignment equipment or personnel to come in and align a pump just precisely. You can go old school method, and these couplings are very forgiving. There's a picture in their figure 1 of the typical coupling. So we're doing those. Health department pretty much covered everything there. All the elevators, everything passed. The juvenile detention center, we still have, we discovered one of the 2 air conditioning compressors are shorted out. And in fact, that compressor was just ordered today. So it should be on the road next week. We repaired the walk-in freezer and the cooler both in-house, some service and some replacement parts. There were some heaters out on the freezer that we replaced, and so that's all finished. At the Law and Justice Center, we did have 2 conveyances, or actually 3 that failed. No, there's 4 that failed, excuse me. The old jail visitors failed, and the east duplex failed, along with the new jail elevators 1 and 3. I remember those 1 and 3 are just a safety switch issue that was never connected from the get-go, I guess. The south lobby, one of the original elevators, experienced a governor and sheave failure. And I've got a photograph there, figure 3. It's awful dark, but nobody knows exactly what happened, but this steel cable popped off the sheave and made a tremendous racket, I guess, and bent some supports there. So those parts are no longer available from the elevator manufacturer. So Kone is out searching for repair parts, and they may have to be fabricated. So that elevator still remains out of order. Other items in the Law and Justice Center, we're still working with River City to resolve some discrepancies in the new annex. And we had a 10 horsepower motor that failed on return fan number 4 that serves the jail area. We purchased a replacement and installed it. Metcom, we developed a small leak in the back hallway. There's a photo there of the area that we took a hose and wetted down the roof. We did confirm it's a roof leak. I'm not sure if that roof is the original one or not. I'm kind of assuming it is, but I'm doing 2 things there. I'm going to get the leak patched, and I'm also asking the contractor for a budgetary quote on replacing that roof. The museum, we had the fluid cooler for the central air conditioning system broke down. Electrical component went out for the pump, and we ordered parts, and I guess due to the COVID issue, we waited over 10 days for the part to arrive. When it did arrive, it was the wrong amperage size, so we did a little re-engineering and put some temporary components in, and we have that equipment up and running. We did have a upper sash of a window fell last weekend, and I don't know if anybody's ever told any of you folks, but the windows are not all in the best of conditions. A lot of them have come loose as far as the upper sash and falling. This seems to be a common issue. So our fix is to block the upper sash in place. The roof, Administrator Rodriguez has made significant progress with that project. In fact, there was an email that come through today, and I'm sorry I can't elaborate on that. Maybe she can. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. The new jail annex, we experienced a water leak, chilled water leak last weekend. We caught it just in time before it flooded the entire place, but it was just a mechanical fastener that came loose. We did address this with River City and Farnsworth and suggested that the installing contractor retorque all these fasteners. So, and just a general comment there, we did have a meeting with Farnsworth Group in River City a week ago regarding some of the HVAC issues. We're still continuing to work through those. As far as personnel, did complete 2 interviews this week for a maintenance worker position and hope to make a decision out of one of those. Are there any questions?
Administrator Rodriguez, did you want to comment on?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Chairman Barnett, and thank you, Facilities Director Doherty, for deferring. I did bring the documents with me relative to the museum roof project, which were continuations of my work with Charnett Associates. They provided a contract that I have yet to have our legal team read, but it's good progress towards getting on the road. And we thank you so much for your support, membership, that we can work with this architectural firm, because they will certainly take on the bulk of all of the detailed work that it takes to do these RFPs to get the contractors in to do the work. But as you all noted in many of our discussions, even prior to us embarking on this road, they know and understand the historic value of the building and all of the requirements therein to keep this project in line with any of the historic register requirements. And so we are really poised to get this done. As was decided within all of the meetings last month, you've given the chairman the permission to sign this document after it's reviewed by legal. So we're in a good place to get that project going. So thank you, Tim, for allowing me to come up and expound on that just a bit.
That's very
Thank
good
you.
news. Any questions for facilities from the committee? Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for your report and for the good work that you and your team always do for us.
Certainly well. Thank you.
Yeah. Next on the agenda, item 4C, Administrator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chairman. It looks like my item is, sorry, I'm fumbling because I didn't know where I was. Oh, my report on recent.
Don't feel bad. I started the meeting with the wrong agenda.
It's the theme of the day. It's the theme of the day. And I really loved how you said we had millions of viewers. I love the optimism. I think that's fantastic. My item C1A is our report on all county departments and their recent employment activities. It is on page 5 of your packet. I mentioned this yesterday in Finance Committee meeting. I'd like to forecast that with the arrival of our new Human Resources Manager, we are looking to find better ways to provide you with HR information. And so in the future, you might see some alterations to this to be a little more descriptive about our recruitment activities and all of those good things. And so sometimes I know I don't get a lot of questions about this report, and it gives me pause and makes me wonder. I think there's other things that you might like to know. So that is why I'm just sharing that with you. We're putting together the format, and we will be sharing that with you. And we're really willing to be agile with any of your suggestions as it develops. So we're looking forward to presenting that to you next month. So
Very good. That's been a good addition to the county administrative teams.
it has.
That's great. Anything else you'd like to share with the committee?
Yes, if I may, Chairman, I just have a couple of small things. Well, I had wanted to share with you the good news about the roof project as it moves forward. So there is that. I also know that while we don't have it enclosed in the packet, we'll be letting Health Committee know as well. This is a slight surprise to you, so trust in me, Chairman. Assistant County Administrator Taylor let me know that work on the nursing home relative to those regulatory survey requirements is moving forward, and our Farnsworth group folks are helping us get out an RFP. I didn't want you to all see it in the pantograph and wonder why it wasn't a part of your packet. At this point, we're simply having them put that RFP out there for us to complete that work. We're working with them similar to the relationship that we will have on the museum roof, but I didn't want any of you to read the paper in the coming days and have me not mention it at this opportune moment. And again, we will mention it to the Health Committee as well. I don't suspect we'll have that out in the papers until perhaps the second week in July, around and about July 13th.
These are the items that were identified last fall.
Last fall.
Yes.
Correct.
That we needed to look at moving forward.
Yes, to refresh your memory, we had a regulatory survey from the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services. It was supplemental to the IDPH survey, and it was focusing not on clinical care, but on the physical plant. And so there were some things that our staff could not complete and that needed an architectural hand in the matter. And that is why Farnsworth is working with us, and we are set to be on track to get that work at least started through the request for proposals process. So I'm apologizing to the chairman. I did not alert that to him, but it came to my attention today that it was in the works.
We knew the staff was taking the time to work through this
We
and
did.
address those issues. So it's
We did. So thank you for that, Grace. The other thing I wanted to make mention of that I don't have any solid numbers on, so it's really truly just informational. Our building at 200 West Front, which we affectionately call the Health Department building, but it definitely houses many other services. It includes our FUSE program. It includes triage. Our Regional Office of Education, and some other tenants, as well as our Children's Advocacy Center and other tenants. They have a small parking lot. It's a very small parking lot, and it's very close to adjacent to the Law and Justice Center. And even though we have placed lots of signs outside that say parking only for 200 West Front, I think that giving grace to the many people that might be running late for a court hearing or a hearing with their probation officer, often we find and we observe that people pull up and run into the Law and Justice Center. And what that does is really limits the ability of our customers to 200 West Front to park in that lot. That lot is our lot, the McLean County government's lot. And we have struggled with this. I will say the we, meaning when I was the health department administrator, have struggled with trying to enforce, be kind, and use sort of a restorative manner to approach the issue. Health department administrator McKnight and I, finally decided it's just time. And so I'm going to explore placing sort of what we have across the street at the Lincoln parking deck, which are arms that one might pull a ticket out and the arm goes up. And I guess I'm frozen.
Your audio is fine, your video
audio
is
is fine. That's
I'm gonna
okay.
see if I can restart.
But with that said, we'd like to install arms that allow our visitors and customers to enter. Those that have business in 200 West Front would get validated. Those that decide just to park there would get whatever fee we're able to charge, a flat fee. There will be no hourly parking. There will be no any choice but to pay a large flat fee to get out. So there will be an arm at the beginning when you enter off of Front Street, and then another arm at the side where Grossinger Arena is. This is all needing to be formulated, and I need to get bids for how much these arms would cost. But this has been a struggle even prior to my work as the health department administrator, and it's just time that we take a look at what this could bring to the peace of mind of the services that are within the health department. I've heard too many times that our WIC families will come to get their services and leave because they can't find a parking spot. And when you have small children and you're trying to get them into that building, we could ask them to park in the parking garage, but we'd prefer not to. We ask our employees in that building to use the parking garage, and they do. Even all of our sanitarians who come and go. So we're just giving you sort of the heads up, but also the opportunity to express your concerns, any worries, or any thoughts and ideas that you might have about this project that we'd like to embark on. That was all I had at this point, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions for Administrator Rodriguez? Vice Chair Beard.
No, thank you. And that sounds like a pretty reasonable idea to fix a problem. I know the lot. While we're here, are we comfortable that it's at the best configuration? I know sometimes, especially with older lots, whether I forgot if these are slanted or straight in spots, but is that also being thought about? And your comments make me wonder if the lot is just being used by customers, are there enough spaces? Or is it, hey, maybe it would be worth reconfiguring and we can get a few more spaces out of it as well?
Thank you, Member Beard. I do think in this process, we are going to definitely assess whether or not the configuration could be better. To my recollection, most of the spots are slanted as you enter from Front Street, but as you turn to the right and park in the spots that actually face what I call the parking lot side of the 200 West Front building where that entrance is, or perhaps noted where our new triage center is, those are not slanted. They are, I don't know the good words, but straight in. And so there could be ways that we make more spots or at least easier to utilize spots. Obviously, we would follow all of the ADA requirements that are required, and we will want to keep a spot for our law enforcement friends that are dropping off folks at the triage center because that's the point, easy in and out access for our first responders and law enforcement that might be bringing our friends from the community to utilize the triage center. So I think there's lots to be done, and we're hoping to perhaps get a student or a friend or some kind of consultant that would assist us in making sure that we're utilizing the space the best.
Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last item on the agenda is approval of bills for the month. I have a letter here from the county auditor approving the bills that we have. Total is $233,000, excuse me, $233,602.33, and would entertain a motion from the committee. Motion by member Friedrich, second. Second by member Johnston. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of approving bills, please signify by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Motion passes. That is all on the agenda today. Thank you all for your service to the county and have a wonderful holiday weekend.